Dr. Stone Season 4 Episode 17, and oh my gosh, what was that ending? So this episode begins right where we left off, where our group needs to get across a giant ravine, and at the same time Stanley has repaired the plane and is on his way to get them. At the very least, Kohaku is able to get across with no problem, and so with her on the other side, they're able to start stringing things over and they build their ropeway. And I just love how creative the whole series is, and even in a moment like this, they do have restrictions. For one thing, there's a weight limit to how much can be transported at a time, and so they need to figure out how to get everybody across most efficiently, by allowing maybe 2 to 3 people at a time, all based on their weight, because they did weigh everybody last episode, so they have all that in mind. And I do like also there's the predicament of the villains that they're traveling with, Dr. Zeno and Hyuga, so they don't want to leave either of them alone with anybody, or even with each other necessarily, because they could potentially strike or change or something. I think that is interesting too, is that Hyuga has been on their side for the most part, but still might be a little untrustworthy, and obviously Dr. Zeno as a whole has been a liability the entire time. But again, I do just like the different problem solving that they have to do, and there are problems that I didn't necessarily think of at first, but then when they're explained, it's like, oh yeah, that's true, you really do have to think about everything. But they get everybody across safely. Of course, there is a bit of a problem as Suika falls down, and Kohaku has to go save her and climb back up, so that does give Hyuga a chance to kill her if he wants to, but he still helps her back up and saves her. So at the very least, he does seem pretty solid in the Kingdom of Science for the moment. And thankfully, once they do transport everyone and everything to the other side, they do get to keep their motorcycles. I was a little worried that they would dismantle them to build the ropeway and then we'd seen the last of them, but obviously I guess they're going to need them to get through the rest of the forest. And yeah, they do make it to the rainforest, so they've got some cover from above from Stanley for now. But oh boy, you don't think about how dangerous all the animals there, not necessarily the big ones, but all the, little tiny ones, so they build some rubber boots in order to keep them safe, and also stumble across some army ants that they collect and take the essence from in order to form like a cologne or a repellent, because if they smell like army ants, they're not going to be approached by them. I do almost wonder if they were able to keep any alive, because that'd be an interesting weapon to use later. But really again, the series is just one of those where you're told every little detail here and there, and maybe it doesn't necessarily build it to anything like Chekhov's gun, but more so like a realistic detail that you need to keep track of. And that's something I really appreciate about it. And I think this one's really great with all the traveling that they have to do, because they do cover a lot of ground, but by the end of the episode they do finally reach the Medusa, and very interesting, it starts off with Suika finding one in the river that's gold, and apparently there's just a whole pyramid made out of a bunch of them, just all gold. And I really like this idea, this visual, because it kind of harkens back to the idea of a city of gold, El Dorado, that the settlers were looking for when they first came to South America, and I'm sure they're definitely going to call it that. But oh my gosh, it is absolutely terrifying, definitely fits the title, Sickening Yet Beautiful. Such an insane visual to end off on, and it's something that I don't think Dr. Stone does all too much, haunting kind of visuals or ideas, but this is definitely one that it nailed, and just setting it in the sunset in the rainforest was the perfect way to do it. So definitely a fun episode. I think it was a lot more of traversing, and I think it did that really well, bringing up a lot of the challenges and predicaments along the way, but not feeling like the trek overstayed its welcome, and definitely delivered on their destination.